Hello, dear listeners. Welcome back to ESpotlight, where we explore the fascinating world of entertainment business in Africa. I am your host, Nyakina Jr., and today we are shining a spotlight on an industry that's rapidly evolving and making global impact: the business of filmmaking in Africa. From the golden sands of Nollywood, the vibrant streets of Johannesburg, to the chaotic slums of Kenya, African cinema is not just storytelling, it's a powerful cultural expression and a booming business. In today's episode, we'll break down the key elements that drive the filmmaking industry on the continent. We'll talk about the growth of African cinema, the financial aspect of film production, the role of technology, and how distribution and marketing are key to global success. So, whether you are an aspiring filmmaker, a seasoned producer, or just curious about what goes on beyond the camera, this episode is packed with insights that will inspire and inform. So, let's get started. On our first segment, the rise of African cinema. To truly appreciate the business of filmmaking in Africa, it's important to understand its history and evolution. African cinema has deep roots that trace back to the post-colonial era, where filmmakers began to use the medium to tell authentic African stories. Over the decades, we've seen a surge in film production across the continent, with countries like Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya leading the charge. Let's take Nigeria for example, home to Nollywood, the second largest film industry in the world by volume. Nollywood started in the 1990s with the modest budgets and direct-to-video releases, but it quickly grew into a multi-billion-dollar industry. Today, Nollywood produces thousands of films each year, catering to both local and international audiences. What is fascinating about Nollywood is how it's managed to thrive despite limited resources, often relying on creativity and innovation to produce films that resonate with millions. In South Africa, the film industry has also seen significant growth, especially with the government's support through tax incentives and funding initiatives. South Africa's film sector has become known for high-quality productions and has been a hub for international co-productions. Films like Sosi, which won an Oscar for Best Foreign Language in Film in 2006, and District 9, a sci-fi blockbuster, have put African cinema on the global map. Meanwhile, in East Africa, the Kenyan film industry, often referred to as, who knows the name of Kenyan film industry? Does it even have a name? Affiliation metrics researchers call it Riverwood. Sounds like a fantastic name for me. Has been making strides with films that tackle social issues and celebrate local culture. The rise of digital platforms like Showmax, Netflix, and a local digital sensation, Viusasa, has allowed Kenyan filmmakers to reach wider audiences, showcasing their rich storytelling traditions of the region. The second segment, financing and production in African filmmaking. Let's talk about the business side of filmmaking, specifically financing and production. One of the biggest challenges facing African filmmakers is securing funding. Unlike Hollywood, where there are well-established studios and financing structures, African filmmakers often have to get creative with how they raise money for their projects. Crowdfunding has become an increasingly popular way for filmmakers to finance their films. Platforms like Kickstarter and Indiegogo have been used by African filmmakers to raise funds from supporters around the world. For instance, the critically acclaimed Kenyan film Supermodo was partly financed through crowdfunding, Mchanga to be precise, allowing the filmmakers to bring their vision to life. Another important aspect of film financing in Africa is co-productions. By partnering with international studios or producers, African filmmakers can access larger budgets and resources. This not only enhances the quality of the films but also opens doors to international markets. South Africa has been particularly successful in attracting international co-productions. thanks in part to its favorable tax incentives and skilled workforce. Of course, production costs in Africa can vary widely depending on the scope of the project. While some filmmakers work with the shoestring budgets, others have managed to secure substantial investment. However, regardless of the budget, African filmmakers have consistently demonstrated a remarkable ability to create compelling content that resonates with audiences. Segment number 3 is the role of technology in Africa, in African filmmaking. Technology has revolutionized filmmaking around the world, and Africa is no exception. The rise of digital filmmaking has lowered the barriers to entry, allowing more filmmakers to create content without the need for expensive equipment. Digital cameras, editing softwares, and even smartphones have made it possible for filmmakers to produce high-quality films on a budget. In fact, some of the most innovative work in African cinema today is being done with digital tools. For example, the film The Burial of Kojo, directed by Blitz Bazaule, was shot entirely on a low-budget digital camera, but received widespread acclaim for its stunning visuals and storytelling. That was a Ghanaian movie. The film's success is a statement to how technology is democratizing the filmmaking process. Moreover, technology has also transformed how films are distributed and consumed. Streaming platforms like Netflix, Showmax, and Iroko TV have become key players in the African film industry, providing filmmakers with new avenues to reach global audiences. Netflix, in particular, has made significant investment in African content, with originals like Queen Sono and Blood and Water, the famous South African teen series, garnering international attention. These platforms not only offer filmmakers a way to monetize their content, but also help to elevate African stories on the global stage. As more African films become available to international audiences, there's a growing recognition of unique perspectives and stories that African cinema has to offer. Going to distribution, marketing, and global success. While creating a great film is one thing, ensuring that it reaches audiences is another challenge altogether. Distribution and marketing are crucial components of the filmmaking business, and African filmmakers have had to navigate complex landscape to get their films seen. Traditionally, African films were distributed through DVDs, sales, and local cinema screenings, but the rise of digital platforms has changed the game. Today, filmmakers can distribute their work globally through streaming services, reaching audiences far beyond their own countries. However, with these opportunities comes the need for effective marketing strategies to ensure that film stands out in a crowded market. One successful examples of African film distribution is the Nigerian film The Wedding Party, which became the highest grossing film in Nollywood history. The film's success was not just due to its star-studded cast and relatable story, but also because of a well-executed marketing campaign that included social media promotion, partnerships with brands, and strategic release timing. Another critical factor in the global success of African film is the film festival. Festivals like FESPACO in Burkina Faso, Durban International Film Festival in South Africa, and the Pan-African Film Festival in Los Angeles have been instrumental in showcasing African cinema to international audiences. These festivals provide a platform for filmmakers to network, gain recognition, and secure distribution deals. Ultimately, the key to success in the global market is not just about getting the film made, it's about ensuring that the right audiences see it. African filmmakers who understand this are finding new ways to market their films, leveraging social media, influential partnerships, and targeted advertising to reach audiences both at home and abroad. And our last segment, the future of filmmaking in Africa. As we look to the future, the African film industry is poised for ever greater growth. With a young, tech-savvy population, an expanding middle class, and increasing interest from global investors, The potential for African cinema is immense. However, to fully realize this potential, there are challenges that need to be addressed. One of the most significant challenges is the need for better infrastructures. While some countries have developed strong film industries, others still lack the necessary resources such as film schools, production facilities, and reliable funding sources. Investing in these areas will be crucial for the industry's continued growth. There's also a growing demand for diverse and authentic African stories. As global audiences become more interested in content from different cultures, opportunity to tell stories that reflect the country's rich diversity. This means not only exploring different genres and narratives, but also ensuring that the voices behind the cameras are as diverse as the stories being told. The future of filmmaking in Africa is bright, but it will require innovation, collaboration, and a commitment to excellence. As more filmmakers push the boundaries of what's possible, African cinema will continue to rise, capturing the hearts and minds of audiences around the world. And that's a wrap on today's episode of ESpotlight. We've explored the dynamic and exciting world of filmmaking in Africa, from its rich history and evolution to the business strategies that are driving the industry forward. So whether you are a filmmaker, an industry professional, or simply a fan of African cinema, I hope you've gained valuable insights from today's discussion. If you're passionate about African films, I encourage you to support local filmmakers by watching their films, sharing them with your networks, and engaging with the content on social media. Your support makes a difference in helping African cinema grow and thrive. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for future episodes, feel free to reach out to us on all social media platforms at Nyakina Jr. Stay creative, stay inspired, and let's continue to celebrate the magic of African cinema together.